Welcome to the fourth class of Master Classes, Ascend Master Classes. And if you want to be a Reggae Jedi Knight, this is your Padawan learning session. And we're going to teach you what makes reggae reggae. Let's face it, if it's just the drums or just the bass, it's not really reggae without the, you can call it a chank, you can call it a skank. I don't call anybody a skank. But you can call it a chick. You can call it a, I don't know. What do they call it in Brazil? Times.
Base.
What? Basi?
Like base? Base.
Basi. Okay, what do they call it in Hawaii, Justin? Justin's still working things out.
Hey guys, you got me?
Yeah, we got you. What do they call it in Hawaii? What do they call the
I'm not sure because I've been gone too long. That's messed up.
Justin's got a mohawk, and I'm so excited. So I want to introduce you to the two Jedi Masters for teaching you everything reggae keys right here, right now. I'm looking at Renato Times. You can call him Renato from Sao Paulo, Brazil. And he is reggae extraordinaire. Everything in vintage, old school reggae. He is your go-to guy on Avion Blackman's upcoming album. He played reggae keys exclusively on every song except for one, to my understanding. And then the other side, the other Jedi Knight, is Justin Kaleo Okalani Nalimu from Hilo, Hawaii. He was raised on a healthy diet of reggae, especially Hawaiian reggae. They're so into reggae there that there's more reggae on the radio there than there is anywhere else in the world at any given time. And their style of music, they mix their style with reggae, and they call it Jawaiian. So, ladies and gentlemen, Justin Kaleo Okalani Nalimu is going to take you into the Hawaiian side of reggae and the modern side of reggae, even the pop side of reggae. So these two Jedi Knights, well, they're going to train you today. Are you ready, guys? Are you reggae? This is Reggae Keys 101. Hope you enjoy it.
All right, guys. Again, I'd like to welcome you and thank you for coming. And I apologize for the delay. Still going through some quick technical difficulties, but I also want to thank Times and Mark for helping me today. And I'm so glad to be surrounded by an amazing team. So anyways, with everything going on, I just want to start with of prayer. Lord, I just thank you for putting this whole class together, putting this whole curriculum and Masterclass Ascend program together. And I thank you for giving all of us the words to say today. And I just pray that you guide me, Mark, and Times, and even the translators today, and our moderators. And I pray that today is puts you in the center of attention. I pray that today is not about me, not about Times, but it's all about you, Lord, with the gifts that you gave us. I just pray this in Jesus' name. Amen. So again, I'm the keyboardist for Christafari, one of the co-producers along Times. And how about we just jump right into it? But I'm gonna start off with showing you a few things and teaching you some things. And the first thing I'm gonna show you is the importance of splitting your keyboard in reggae music. So, guys, bear with me. I'm still working out the kinks, but we're getting there. So, hope everyone's having a good day. And here we go. Okay. 8 times. Do you guys see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay, good. This is our sound check and our video check. So I'm going to explain to you different situations when playing. And first, I'm going to tell you about the simplest situation. So if you're in a church or in your house and you only have one keyboard, then this is what we're going to do. And what I would normally recommend is when you play reggae music, make sure you have two keyboards in front of you, just so you can have one keyboard doing the organ for the bubble, one keyboard for the piano. But if you're unable to have two keyboards, that's fine. Um, I would like to encourage you, whatever keyboard you're using, if it's digitally, like if you're on the main stage, like how I am, or if you're on like a motif, a Nord, or Roland, I want to encourage you to learn your system because today I'm gonna explain to you how I do things on my system, and I'm gonna do my best to um, help you transfer that to your keyboard. So here we go. In reggae, using one keyboard, it would be good to just split your keyboard using the left side as the bubble and the right side being the piano. Oh wow. Sorry about that. Okay. Uh-oh.
In a future class, we're going to talk about live keys, and Justin's going to show you how to solve problems like this when you're on stage and things aren't working quickly, and everybody in the band's looking at you saying, "What do you do?" Times, do you have any suggestions as to what as you figure it out, Justin?
Almost.
All right, getting it sorted. This is great. Justin's in the studio right now.
Okay, checking again. Yes, there.
Yeah, give us more volume, please.
Ooh, that's interesting. So yeah, guys. One of the things I'm going to be showing you guys and teaching you guys is in one of our future classes is troubleshooting. So one of the things that's going on and this is something that's happening on the spot is I lost one of my inputs um, to get my piano. So that's something I'm looking at right now. Anyways, well, I try to figure that out. Going back to trying to split your keyboard, what I would recommend is you guys using the left side of the keyboard, use that as an organ, and the right side of the keyboard, you put a piano on it. And once I open up one of my next files, I can show you how to use both of that together. And so that's one of the important things about splitting a keyboard. And if you have a limited of resources, is if you only got one keyboard and you want to play reggae music, you can either just play the piano, get the piano sound, which is normally the first patch, and or you can
let's let you sort that out. Let me know when you're ready, okay? In the meantime, I'm gonna ask some questions to Times, okay?
Cool.
Okay, Times, do you have a keyboard right in front of you?
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, give them your basic shank. How do you play your fingers? How do you space your fingers out? I'm guessing that your basic shank would be just the chords that would normally be played in a song, correct?
Yeah. But sometimes we go like natural chords, like I
Is
play
there a way you
now.
could angle the camera towards your hands, not your face? Not no offense, but yeah, is that's great.
All right. What I usually do, I do the same chord with two hands. So
So
if
octaves.
I like whole chord, like because if I do just octave, it will be like two.
Okay,
Oh, I
How
push
do I end this?
1 3 5, and then in a higher octave 1 3 5. Is that what you're doing?
yeah 1 3 5 like that. But sometimes we go like one hand natural chord and
Yeah.
another hand I go like dissonant. We in Portuguese we call dissonant, but
This
dissonant, yeah. So like start with
a seventh.
seven, yeah, major seven and minor seven. But
So
this hand,
essentially, just for those who are, I'm a musical novice, but I'm sure that most people watching out of the 59 that are participating right now, um, they understand the whole 1 3 5. But somebody may be watching going, I really don't get this. Okay, so to just the little that I know, you have your one, which is kind of the root, three, which is the harmony, five. Those three make a chord, but what you're doing is above the five is the seven, and that's where you're going for the major and the minor. Is that what you're doing?
yeah,
You
seven
play each of those notes one at a time. One,
or
3 5.
1 3 5. My left side,
Uh-huh.
right side, I play seven, like seven, third,
Okay, well, 7 3 5.
mhm.
Okay, now name a song of Christafari that does not use sevenths, and if you could just give us a chunk for that, please.
Oh, natural. Let's talk about freedom fighters, right?
Okay,
Really simple song, natural chords.
and you can even play that with one hand, right?
Yeah. When I play one hand, I'll go like octave down because this too high. I don't like. I like more
Okay,
song.
little bite, a little more bite, more of a pack.
Let me put
Yeah,
some.
you don't want to go too low though, because too low would give you a beat, right?
Let me make a loop. Okay, we will go.
Nice, that sounds great.
And then I use bubbles.
Real quick before we get to bubble, because that's a different thing. Let me ask you a question here, and the question is, can you now give us a reference of a Christafari song that has the sevenths?
Oh yeah, for sure, sure, sure. We can use the same beat. Fly away. I go like G major and A7. Oh, how can I say this in English? Sorry, guys. It's A minor 7.
Portuguese.
Portuguese will be Lá menor com sétima. A minor 7. I think this is
Correct. Correct.
Yeah. So after
Okay,
that,
let's talk about some of the add-ons that you would do in a chank. Like fly away, do gank, 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 little things like that. The ads, you were just doing a few just for piano alone.
yeah, it just be Portuguese. I don't know. Maybe feels can be
Yeah, fills.
yeah. Yeah, you have many options, many let's say like that.
Nice. And then there's maybe one or two other uh shank on keys options that come to mind. The cliche cheesy one, chink 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 chink. And are there any others that you've heard in reggae, maybe early Bob Marley, where they were trying to figure out what reggae was that you can do on piano?
So I think this they just try simulate some delay stuff like these are we can go like that. Bob Marley used chanks sometimes with clavinets. It's still chanks, but it's another tone, let's say. Like all right.
That's early reggae style there. That's awesome. Okay, let's move over to bubble. Um, as Justin's still getting these things sorted out, let's pull up. We eventually he'll show us how to do the bubble and the piano, but let's focus on the bubble. What is your favorite bubble sound, and what is a bubble?
All right. Bubble for me, I go I know I personally don't like bubbles too low because I always think about I need to give some space for the bass. If I go too low, it just is too much low frequency on the same place, like so I give this space for bass, for the kick, and I go a little bit. Let's play with piano. Let's middle basic one, right? That one it's really basic, but all right. Oh,
Hey guys, we're back.
oh, thank you.
Ah, times. Thank you. super sorry for the technical difficulties. Here's the thing, you guys. Recently I've been praying. I'm like, God, I miss touring. I want to go back on the road. And now I'm just remembering a lot of the moments on tour where you show up to a big venue. Like you go to here. Let me tell you a story while I'm getting my screens moved. So we go to a sound check for the biggest show in Brazil. Everything works perfect, and we're there like at what, like 4 o'clock in the afternoon times. Things work out. Then we arrive at 10 p.m. or 11 p.m. The whole place is crowded. Like there's so many people, and now it's showtime. And I set the keyboard up, and my patches don't work. And so now, here's a quick tip that's for another class. But now, now that my computer's not working, I gotta go into, I wouldn't call it panic mode. I would say just getting creative and trying to find the solution instead of giving up. And today was a good example where everything was working 2 hours ago. I had a sound check. I had a thing where I tested on my patches, and then now everything didn't work. So going back to a big show, what I do is I just use the piano patches on the second keyboard and just kind of go with it. Well, so that's, I'm playing the piano on my left hand while troubleshooting with my right hand. And what usually happens is 3 songs in, everything works. So, hey, Times, what did you cover so far?
I talking about piano, bubble, but
Great. Yeah. So real quick, I'm just gonna show you what I was gonna show you earlier. So, as long as you have your keyboard split up, your left side having an organ, and your right side having a piano, all you really do need is one keyboard. And here's an example. And guys, how's the sound for you guys?
be a little more louder, Juju.
Okay,
So,
cool. So, it should be louder. And then so what stand by, you guys. Oh, okay.
Are you able to just turn up? Is it maxed on here?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, let me just keep thinking.
Okay.
Just keep going.
So going back to this side of things, that's how I would normally do a split keyboard situation if I'm only down to one keyboard, and that's something that is the quickest thing to do on any keyboard or any piano, is just having the bubble and the piano split up. And the next thing I want to show you guys is a ton of different things, and I'm sure Times started covering it from talking about the rhythm piano, the rhythm section, which is, we call it the chanks, and also the bubble, and just keeping the rhythm there. And that's something that's key while you're playing with the whole band. And just making sure that you got the chanks and the bubbles down. So all right. So let me show you this. Times, is the volume still super low? Okay.
Maybe I hear from your microphone.
Hmm. Oh, okay.
Yeah, try that.
Yeah.
Okay, just
Cool.
try your stereo out. Just turn that.
Okay. This one.
Yeah. Just go all, like. Yeah.
How are we times?
Too soft?
Still soft?
I can hear.
Okay.
I can hear.
So what I'm gonna show you is with the bubbles, and I'm sure Times did it on his end, is doing the bubbles, and we do it on the organ, and Times actually helped me sound design one of my organs. But how we do it is just so the chank is on the 2 and the 4, and Times you can jump in anytime you want. But so 1 2 3 4, 1 2 3 4, 1 2 3 4, 1 2 3 4. So that's how you do a reggae chank, and that's just the very beginning, you guys. And with the bubble Times, you want to explain like the music theory behind counting out the bubbles?
Guys, about music theory in reggae, I would say if you want to know music theory, reggae, it's time for you to learn this because reggae always it's like I don't know how can I explain
That's what the issue is.
something more about feeling, about feel. You feel the band, you feel the music, but I don't know how can I explain this Juju in music theory. Maybe hear that now.
Okay. And so with the bubble, there's two different ways we do it, is either playing it straight or putting a swing into it. So with I'll show you with just doing like a straight bubble with a normal groove. So that's with like a normal straight beat, and if you want to do like a swing or a triplet rhythm to it, here's another variation.
Like this, like a triple, like ta 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 triple eights. No, I think this is
Yeah.
the term in English. Triple eights, like ta 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 ta.
So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show you an example of one of our songs that we did years ago. I quickly rebuilt it, and I'm gonna show you different elements. Oh, I'll do a quick run through of my session here. So sometimes I end up doing this on stage. Like when you think of reggae keys or a keyboard, you think of piano, pads, organs, or electric pianos. You normally don't think of a bass because most times there's a bass player next to you. But for me, when I'm creating a song here in the studio, the only instrument that I can play really well is either the keyboard or the ukulele. So I'm doing when I'm writing songs, I'm doing not only the keyboard parts, but I'm also doing the bass lines and drum parts. So so for example, I'm doing a bass line for this, or I would go down to the drums and hit the drums like this. And so that's how I build a session when I'm doing like reggae songs and some other things that we use sometimes is the clavinet in reggae. Like Times use it a lot. And a good example that we use it for is I like to use it for playing with the bass lines. So Times, how do you like to use the clav?
I use clavinets as jank, but I use two kinds of clavinets. I use with phaser, like phaser effect, all right, guys? Like, guys, wow, you guys can hear this? And I use with wah pedal, guitar pedal, like, or I use like that. I use a lot.
Perfect. So that's something that I don't use it as much as Times, but I like to use it on the bass lines, and then some other bubble variations that I use. Not only the organ is like the Rhodes, or the Wurlitzer. And I don't do it much, but like whenever I'm trying to think about like a different idea, especially when I'm songwriting, I like to experiment with other instruments. Like for example, in my in my session, I have my preset. It's a I call it a Rhodes effect, which I run the Fender Rhodes through a reverb and a delay, so it comes out like this. So it's a long reverb and a triplets delay. And that's pretty much the backbone behind doing holding the rhythm section in reggae with the bobbles, the chanks, using a piano to chank, using a clav to chank, or you can use a clav, electric piano, Rhodes, and Wurlitzer to do the bubble also. And something that I want to show you, something that's unique with the organs is just sound designing the organs. And honestly, it's something that I've started recently doing within the last year because I just kind of get organ presets and just kind of guess. I'm like, all right, that sounds good for like a low. So I have like a low, uh, soft sounding sound for the bubble, and this is what it would be. Or it can be like a heavier, harder sound of of a an organ like this. And what I normally do is I just go into the settings, and you can do this for like a lot of digital organs or even physical organs on keyboards. And I just mess with the drawbars for so for like a lead, I just bring all the bars out and do that. And then times, how do you sound these on your bubble and do your EQ? Because I know you do something very different and very specific with your EQs.
Okay, what I usually do it, I take down my drawbars. I'm just go like you can measure like that. So just the low one and the high one, like you guys can hear, right?
Mhm.
And my EQ, I always take like 200 and 500. Sorry, guys, my English. So 500, and 200. Take like some 3 dBs for make more strong. But I always cut the low frequency because, like I said before, I give this space for bass and kick. I don't want to be on the same place on the bass and kick. So I give this space and I have like, and this is what I basically I do on organ. And also I do reverbs in my, but no reverbs like real long, just for room. I always think about my organ needs to be in somewhere, in some room, in some place, because we use a plugin, simulator, stuff like that. And sometimes I feel this is too much computer, this is too much digital for me. What I usually do, I simulate some room for make this organ be in somewhere, in some room, in some place, for making me. I don't know if you guys can hear this. You got this?
Mhm.
Yeah, this is what I usually do with my bubbles.
That's pretty cool because I've slowly started doing that when I've been building new songs. Times is I'll do like a room simulation on my organ,
Yeah,
and
because
it's nice and different.
yeah, sounds like not more natural to me.
Yeah,
I use in my pianos also, like you know, you can feel like, oh, this piano is some place really bigger or small, whatever.
yeah, that's something I'm still working out the fine tuning with the pianos, but I'm close. But speaking of pianos, something that I wanted to bring up is if you're doing studio recordings, I would highly recommend you play your rhythm or your chunks with the two octaves,
Oh yeah,
because one is nice like that, or because it'll give your right hand flexibility to do different fills. So here it is with using only your left hand. So that's cool. It sounds cool live, but I would really recommend you recording in the two octaves so it gives you a more fuller sound on the piano. So here you go. And that's something I wanted to bring up. I was talking with a friend of mine a few weeks ago. He's a keyboardist of a well known international act, and we were just going over ideas about like what do you need to know as a reggae keyboardist, especially if you're in a band. It can be like in a garage band or a church band or a touring band like us. The biggest thing that the keyboardist needs to know is you need to pay attention to the drums and the drummer. And it's cool that we just had our reggae drums class, because the thing that I want to encourage you is when you're playing live, you need to listen to that hi hat, because if it's playing straight, you better make sure your bubble is straightened up. But if it's loose and swinging, then just follow along with the drum beat, and just so that there's unity between the drums, bass, and the keys. And then also, if you're in a band, another thing that I would encourage you guys to do is, if you have the capabilities, play with a click, play with a metronome, and it kind of gives you more room to play around and even add in some clicking tracks if that's something that you want to do. But that's the biggest thing that I can tell you as a touring musician, and as some friends of mine has shared with me, is when you're playing those rhythms as a keys player, you got to make sure that you're either next to that drummer, or you got the click hot in your ears. And another thing is, make sure you get in ears when you're on stage, just so you can properly hear everything. And if that's a resource that you are able to have and get, I would highly recommend you going to myinears.com. Our good friend and producer Tiago Costa has amazing deals and amazing products around that. So, what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to show you guys a quick demonstration of a lot of the different things that we just covered, from the bubble to the chanks and the different variations of doing it. So like I said, I have it's just the music, no vocals, but I have one of our songs that we did called Celebrate You, and I'm just gonna show you different parts of being a keys player, from just the bubble or the bubble and the chank, or when the full band comes in, just hold it down. If there's just one of you, hit the chank and do some leads, or if there's two of you, two keyboard players in the band. That's another thing, you guys, is have good communication with your band and decide what you and your second keyboard player are going to do. So one keyboard, for example, one keyboard player can just do rhythm, just do bubble and chanks the whole song, and the second keyboard player can do leads, or can do stuff on the roads, or do things on the pads. So that's the cool thing about having multiple players. But if you're not able to do that, and you can do a click and track, then that works too. Because a lot of bands, touring bands, have been doing a click and track deal, and I've also noticed a lot of the guys coming out of Hawaii, they're jumping on that. I was watching a virtual concert a month ago from some friends back in my hometown, and I heard their intro, and I called him. I said, "Dude, you're running a click, aren't you?" He's like, "Yeah." And I just love that, because it gives you more options and more diversity. And I'll tell you that a lot of musicians have like they have two different opinions on it. One side of it like would rather not have any clicks or tracks because it's just about the musicianship, which is amazing, and I love that. And you also got the other side of things where it's all about the click and track, and that's honestly that's where we're at because it kind of it helps and complements us as we don't have multiple keys players or multiple guitar players or a horn section. So that's when the tracks, the clicking tracks in our ears really help with that. So with this demonstration, you guys, I'm just going to show you through different parts of a reggae song with the full band in, or a drum and bass section where it's just we call it the dub section, or the rhythm section, which is just Chanks and the bubble, and then also a mix section. So let me pull up the piano. So I'll show you real quick. So as we said, the Chanks is just like this. But if you're on a stage and your singer wants to say mix section or mix it up, this is what we're gonna do. So oops, excuse me. There we go. Times, do you still have audio?
Oh, better.
You got it?
Yeah, play again, please.
Yeah, you're much better with audio now.
Okay, I don't even know what happened, but I lost the headphones, so I'm gonna do it like this, especially if it works out. So that's what the mix section is, and like it just brings up that energy, especially if you got a singer chatting or doing stuff like that. So I'll show you the different variations right now, and then I also at the end of it, I also did a swing version of the same rhythm, so we'll see how that goes too. So here we go, you guys. Enjoy. So right now we're going into the drum and bass section. Now here's the rhythm. Oh, you know what? I forgot to show you guys a different variation of the bubble that I sometimes do. So what what people normally do is something like what we showed you earlier. But depending on the song, the speed, and depending on the kind of mood I'm in, if I'm writing the song, I'll double the bubble up. And I don't know the official term, but I just kind of, we're in the same tempo, but I'm speeding it up with the bubble. So. And so here we go. I'm gonna start the track back up, right, going back into the rhythm section, and I'll do that bubble that I was just telling you about. And something else I forgot to mention was, as Mark briefly brought it up, I bring in island influences with reggae music, but something else I like to do is bring in modern sounds. And I'm not big into pop music, but I do listen to everything just so I can have a wide perspective on creativity, because I don't want to just sound like a fill in the blank. I don't want to just sound like the the um the guys before me in reggae music. I want to create something new. So what I do is sometimes I like to listen to. I'm not too big of a fan of it or the lyrics, but I'll listen to like some pop songs or EDM music or tropical house. Or lately, I've been into future bass and lo-fi. So here's another idea for a chant that I did. And it's just, I call it a background synth, and it could be used as a pad. But a lot of times I'll use it for a chank, but I rarely use it. It just depends on the song. And like I said, the effects roads I use a lot. Like if you really study our latest albums, I've been using this, kind of hiding this around the track, but like this. So that's what this next section is. Right after the rhythm section, I kind of show you like different modern options of a chank and a bubble. So here you go. And that was the mix section. That is not included in the original song, but I just wanted to show you guys that. And something else that the original does not have is a swing version. So here you go. Check it out. So that's pretty much the difference between doing a normal straight beat and the swing, and that was a quick demonstration on doing it with just the chanks and the bubbles, the full band, the drum and bass, the rhythm section, and also using modern sounds for the chanks and the bubbles. And Times, is there anything you wanted to point out? So Mark, I'm not sure.
Yes. All right, I'm ready. I've got a bunch of questions, and we've got a bunch of questions from those who are watching. First question for you, Justin. I remember when you first built this rhythm. We're in Hilo, Hawaii. I was staying at a friend of yours' house. How long did it take you to burst version?
Really, dude?
Yeah.
5 minutes.
How long did it take you to build this version with all the different variations?
Maybe like an hour. Because
Okay.
because here's the thing, you guys. When I first started, I can push out any rhythm you want. It's it's hard to explain this, but I just know I live and breathe reggae music. But the thing that I've learned over the years is it doesn't matter if it's like how quick you can do it. It's what you put into it. So I don't want, even though I can do quick tracks, I want to make sure that the quality is good instead of just the quantity. So that's why it took me a long time today to make sure, oh, the notes better be right on bass because I wrote that bass line years ago, or adding the chank or adding the mixes. So yeah, that's the long answer of why the times were different here in 2020.
It doesn't matter how quick you do it, it's put into it. I love that. So what you're saying is it's quality versus quantity. Great advice there. I remember on your 30th birthday, you decided to record and write from scratch 30 songs. How deep did you get into it on that?
I think I got up to like 25.
Incredible. 25 original songs. And I can't wait for your class where you're going to be talking about how you build a rhythm scratch. So a lot of the questions are going to be pertaining to that in the future. And times we're going to do the same with really quick before we get into some of the questions though. Justin and Times, I want you guys to do a little bit of bubble battle, if you will, okay? So I want you to have your organs ready. And I want Justin, give me the straight bubble. Simple, basic, straight bubble. Go for it.
Hold on. I need to make my screen. All right, right. Let me. Okay. I like options. So let's do a happy progression. Sorry, straight, right?
Justin, do you have your thing on 1-3-5 for both hands?
Huh?
Do you have your fingers on the 3 and the 5 of the chord for both hands?
Oh yeah. So yeah. And depending on the mood of the song, and times when I covered this is my left hand will probably be the normal chords. Let me put the piano on. Will be the regular chords, and the right hand will be maybe like the sevens. Or I don't know the name of it, but I'll move a finger and I'll do this. So I'm doing a G major 7 and A minor 7. So, or at the end of the measure, I'll do. So that's how I do my chords, similar to what Times does too. But like it just depends. Like if I'm doing like a island song or a Emisi song, I'll throw in like every island chord I can find. Like
Question regarding bubbles, Justin. Or times, maybe you know this. I don't know musical terms, but is it on the 1 E and Are the bubbles on E and what is it? For those who read it like ooh 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 ooh? I know the chank is 1 chank 3 chank 1. It's on the 4, correct?
yeah, the chank's on the 2 and 4.
If the chank is on the 2 and the 4, what is first bubble going into it? Is it on the 1E before the 2 and the or I don't know. You tell me. He's writing it out. He's doing the math right now.
Great.
Okay. Yeah.
A little pause, like.
Nice. Okay, let's get into this bubble battle. Justin just gave you that bubble. Ooh, ah, ooh, ooh, ah, ooh. Now give me something different that is still called a bubble.
All right.
And Justin, you're going to do something different from what he's doing.
Yeah. We in the early we call early reggae, early reggae. It's just like
Reggae.
that. Oh, we can call rock steady, like. You sustain a little bit this hand, and then yeah, this kind of.
And I've heard that style, the rock steady, more like a ooh-yaku, 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 kaku, kaku, ooh-yaku. A lot of times you hear that ooh, which is kind of too. It's and I think that it's called a bubble because it's like it's just bouncing. Okay, so we Justin did the regular straight one. You did that one. Justin, give me another go-to bubbles that is not those two patterns.
Okay. I got two, but let me swing it then.
Nice. Swung is nice. That's a good alternate. Okay, Times, what's your next alternation? Different.
Okay, we have that one. This is really rock steady for me, like Alton Wiley, stuff like that. So.
Oh, that is such a beautiful. Is that it?
Yeah.
Yeah, Times. I was actually gonna do that one, so perfect. You covered it.
Oh man, it's like a bunch of gorillas and monkeys in this place. That's awesome. Okay, Justin, I know another one because I hear you do it all the time. In fact, sometimes I would even tell you, I want you to stop doing that because you do that bubble much. What is it?
Oh gosh. Oh, okay.
I'll tell you if you don't remember.
No, I know. I remember it. I'm just trying to figure out how to use it. Yeah. I'm rusty, bro.
Okay.
I didn't
call
play
that
one for a year.
I call that the I am Juju because he would end the end of any phrase on our early albums. I am Juju. That was his thing. Okay, Times. Give me another. What else you got for bubbles?
All right, we have one. I really don't like that one, but we have like.
Oh yeah. Is that Natural Mystic?
Yeah, it can be.
I think. Yeah. Again, that's the double chang we were talking about with piano. Also, sometimes you hear that with bubble. Justin, I know you got another one in you. What you got?
I would.
I'll help you. That's the one you were doing for.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, you do that a lot. So much so that on the last 2 albums, I can't have that on every song. I know you just.
Yeah. See, I forgot about that one now.
I challenge these guys do something different on every song, which isn't easy when you're doing recording 20 to 40 songs a year. Anything else, Justin, or times regarding Bubble that you guys can remember?
I think we got it, huh?
On this car, sometimes I use some bubbles.
Go for it.
Yeah. Yeah, just for me.
Nice. So,
Oh, you know.
I still like that you have the but you have a lot more sustain in that one. That's nice.
You know, here's a new one that I've been messing with. Like, times want to cover it the same one or a variation, but like this. So I've been trying that out with my new organ.
That's nice. I like that. The accentuation is on the like that, right?
Uh-huh.
That is sweet. And then, of course,
Yeah.
and you go another thing that you guys do a lot is sustains. Like for instance, we're doing a Rocksteady cover of "I Can See Clearly Now" on Avion's album, and there's a lot of sustains. We specifically use it in a pre-chorus. We'll get into this in songwriting if you want to learn that, and in song building for these two guys' classes. But and a sustain for a pre-chorus, and especially for a bridge, just to lift. Give me some sustain organ and show them the slides that they do. Both of you guys, want a quick sustain with the slide?
Go ahead, Juju.
Okay.
What do you have?
How about you go first with the "I Can See Clearer" one?
All right, let's see. Because I have a different like preset for that one. I was like, I call transistor organ is just like it's no regular organ, just like vintage organ. Like that. I use that one a lot.
Nice.
Yeah. Sounds like really 16s.
Mm-hmm.
Really old one. Yeah.
I honestly haven't used much sustain, like especially lately, but like something that I like to mess with on my own stuff is like doing like what Mark said, like sliding in or sliding out. So I think I wrote this for a song that we did not record yet. So like. I like to do like slides in and out. Something like that.
I love that progression. I love that. All right, let's get down to some questions here. Plugins would you guys recommend for this? For I'm guessing either live and or studio.
For live, well, and here's the thing that I will do more research on because I'm This is geared more towards a Mac friendly situation. So PC users, I apologize, I do not have the answer. But for Mac users, plugins I know we both use is Native Instruments and the Complete series, and that's where Times gets a lot of his organs from. I think all his organs are from vintage organs, and our electric piano plugins are from vintage keys. No, yeah, I think it's vintage keys. Um, and I get my pianos from Alicia Keys plugin and another one. So a lot of these are included in the Native Instruments complete pack, or you can get each pack separate. And for
Real
the
quick. So one person is asking, are you using stock Logic sound? Are any of these stock Logic sounds? Or I know Alicia Keys isn't.
okay, so
I know some of the,
for my sounds, the organs that I'm playing is from Logic. I just messed it with the drawbars and the EQ to make it sound different. So if you're on Logic, you guys, go to, oh, here we go. I don't know if you can see my screen, but go to when you click on the vintage B3 organ, you go all the way at the bottom and hit experimental, and you go to reggae keys. And then from then you can just have as much fun as you want with the EQ or the drawbars.
and for those of you who are like, man, this is too fast, I can't take notes. We're going to do our best to send a link to the video for this class. It'll be privately sent to you. It will be sent immediately, but we will send it as soon as we can. And it's not for share with others. This class is only for the 51 participants that are watching right now, or anybody who registered in advance. So
And
real quick,
and
go
here's
ahead. You want to say something else, Justin?
yeah, and here's another thing. I know a few of you who's watching right now, so hit me up. But I do offer a direct link. If you can find me on Instagram or Facebook, ask me anything you need, and I will do my best to answer it. And yeah, we got time because we can't tour now, so I'll be more than happy to answer any keyboard questions or software questions. So just look me up on social media, and I'll do my best.
What's your social media handle for both of you guys, please?
For sorry, I gotta look. For
Just that
Instagram.
time, like here. I want just this.
So for Instagram, mine is 808 Killer Whale, or just type in my name, Justin Nalimu, Nalimu. And yeah, if you follow me on IG, you will get a follow back, and we can chat about reggae keys or anything relating to music and ministry.
So that top one is his. I don't know if you can see it. No, you can't see it. There it is. 808 Killer Whale. And then times is Renato.
Like
Times.
here.
Times
Zoom. Renato times.
Could you also times could you do me a favor and play some rock steady piano and or bubble for somebody?
Okay, I will do it here. Like classic rock steady. This is the most important thing, guys. On the guitar, on the organ. Yeah.
Okay, so times that's a long, short, long. Yeah. Nice, very nice. And for those who don't, actually, I would encourage you to watch the Ska Rock Steady class, where Fred, our old drummer, is going to be going through that before reggae there was ska, then it slowed down to rock, then it went to roots, and then kind of diversified into dancehall and other things. Joe Vasco is asking, which is your favorite piano sound for funk? Does it depend on the song? Is there anything that you guys use as a go-to? For me, it's just a straight piano, but you tell me which one you guys prefer.
Times you go, because I know you're very specific with your piano sound.
All right. What I do with my pianos, I have two kinds of pianos. I usually go like I turn make more soft. It's not too high like that. I like more like that
Yeah.
because I want to make space for guitar. Chank. When I do piano low, I can mix like guitar and piano. I can hear everything. If I do piano too high, you'll be confused with guitar. This is what I think about piano. About plugin, guys, I will say something about this. For me, the most important thing you have your song in your head, because sometimes we have different plugins, we have different keyboard, but if you have the song in your head, you can make this whatever plugin you have, whatever keyboard you have. You have your song in your head, all right?
Yeah, and for me, like I said, for a long time, I've just been using the Alicia Keys piano, but lately I moved over to another grand piano, and depending on the song, I have the I have the ability to open the cover, so I can open it or close it, and I like this sound because it's a lot more cleaner and tighter than the other one, and so this is like. So it's like you're playing a grand piano, and then once I either send it to Times or Mark, they'll run all their extra EQs through it on their programs.
Okay, sorry about that. So one question was, do we use electric piano or do we use acoustic? I just answered it for them, but the goal for us is we use pretty much for everything. We do oftentimes like to add Rhodes Wurlitzers. Oh, we love those sounds. Oh, especially with a little distortion. One thing that they were talking about is brightness of the piano. You want it to fit well with the chank of the guitar, but to not have to have the exact same frequencies. So like if the chank is for the guitar is here, you want the piano to be here, et cetera, et cetera. You want them to be hitting the same way. And the chank for the guitar is used chick, chick. The piano is more jink, jink, little, not as bright, more mids. That's something we go for. Somebody else is asking, is there a favorite reverb you got using? I know that there's that one tape machine delay. What's the one that looks like a Space Echo that we use a lot?
Yeah, that's Space Echo. Oh, I'm gonna pull it up.
Either the blue or the green looking one. What's the one that I about a year ago I had us all get it? It's not. I use DubStation a lot, by the way, for delays. Jank, jank, jank. I use the triplet delay DubStation 1.5. We don't.
Oh,
I'm not a big fan of 2.
Outer Space, you guys.
Let me see. I'll know it once that's the one, the green one. Yeah.
So
Alice is great for going for some old analog sounds. Could you show us how to do a chank delay when you're live and you don't have plugs? Just the chank, 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 chank. Just with your hand, just show us really quick, just to fake like you have a delay. First, you may want to do that at the end of a section right before we go into what we call dubwise. Talk about reggae terms, at least within Christafari. Drum on beat. That's also known as dubwise. And then there is rhythm. And you would think that rhythm is drums and bass, but in reggae, rhythm is chank, 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 and rhythm. So rhythm usually means for us the chank, the bubble, ooh, ah, ooh, and the flat pick, but anything else, which would be drums and bass, would not be in that dubwise section. And so there's that. What are some common fills to practice? Ooh, ah, ooh, ah, ah, ooh, ah, something like that. Is there anything that you guys would recommend people practice?
Yeah, there's a few like the one you just mentioned, or yeah. So you just find the right. So just if you're doing the bubble, just have fun with the right hand. So because like this.
I know the answer, but do we quantize?
Depends who you're asking. um, I I quantize the bubbles. Bubbles and chanks are quantized unless it's like a soup. Unless I do a slide. So whenever I'm sliding an organ, that's not quantized. Or when I'm doing like a fast one of those fast bubbles, I'll quantize it sometimes, but 90% of my work, if not 95, it is quantized. But I know some people they like to do like less quantization or none at all. Just depends on the player and just feel it out.
Okay. When you guys are doing modern reggae worship songs, like Hillsong Elevation, would you stick to the same chords or as the original or not?
Um, I That's a good question because yesterday I was prepping for another class. No, 2 days ago. Um, and I was learning the song, but then I'm like, you know what? This sounds too much like modern worship. So let me try and make it fit into a reggae progression. So that's what I'll do. Like if it sounds too worshipy or too churchy, I'll kind of bring it back to the islands for a few seconds. And there are other people that will just completely flip the script and make any worship song minor key. But times, how's your approach? Like with like So Will I, because I loved what you did with So Will I and Waymaker.
What I usually do, try to simplify everything, you know? If I can just resume, because I will talking about this when we talking about chord progression. I have a class about this, but I okay. In music theory, we have relative chords, all right? You have C and you have E minor. It's relative. What I try to do is like if I can use just the minor one, or I'm just use the minor one for make reggae, for make minor, for make
Yeah,
root. I
I
try
like
to
that.
simplify everything because this make more on the style, make more. This is what I try to make.
Nice. Okay, another question. Tim Leonard, Ja Pinkney, shout out. Clavinet is one of my favorite parts of roots reggae. He loves the clav. It's often hard to fully hear is happening. I know Bob Marley and the Wailers often used it, um, but And do you follow the line or not? What do you do? What are your thoughts on clav? I know sometimes we follow the bass line, some of the times we don't. Sometimes we make our own lines. Can you talk about some of the other ways clavinet typically used in reggae? We need to make it short too.
We talked about this before, but what I usually do, it's sometimes chink, like guitar, with wah, or sometimes I use phaser on my clavinet. Like the Bob Marley used a lot there.
And I also love, of course, the like when it's something similar to like with a bass.
Yeah, that one.
Justin, question for you. Could you show the drawbars you use organ for the bubble again? In the meantime, while you're working on that, times, could you answer this question? Português se fala contratempo. What does that mean?
Fala contratempo. They just try to say in English.
I tried to translate it and it didn't work well in Google Translate. Se fala contratempo.
They just try to teach us something about contratempo, about time.
Okay. All right, Justin, these are your drawbars, right?
Yep. So this is what I use for the specific bubble, and honestly, what like I said, I've only recently, like a year ago, started experimenting with the drawbars. But if you have a keyboard or a MIDI controller with the module wheel, I just kind of guessed it for a lot of years. So and then that's how I came up with that, and just experiment with it. Like if you have a lot of time on your hands, go through everything, because you'll find out that, oh, this works best for a bubble, or this other variation works best for a lead, or if you're in a full gospel church, you just pull out all the bars and give me a second, and here you go. And there you go, you're back in church.
Going to church. And is that your main stage you're using there?
No, this is Logic, because it was an interesting situation trying to bounce back and forth, because I ran the Celebrate Your Rhythm through Logic today. But I will be
what are your
featuring
patches for main stage? What's your organ patch for main?
for main stage, it's these two same ones. I actually transported them both, but I have a third one where I just mess with the drawbars. Like back when we used to tour, I would go in early and decide, oh, I like this sound or that sound. So I have these two organs already, and I have a third one with experimental sounds.
Okay, these are some incredible questions. I'm going to get to all of them because I'm so excited. Okay, top one here. This is Ivan Guzman says, sorry, I had to leave the meeting for a second. I'm back. Basically, I'm the only keyboarded player in the band. I wish I had 4 arms. Raise your hands if you wish you had 4 arms as a keyboardist. To play rhythm and fills live. How do you decide what to play, what sounds, what patterns to send to the performance track? What do you enjoy playing live? Bubbles, fills, different question. How do you, the brass section, come together, give each other the space in the song? A lot of questions there, but my answer would be play the most important part, that if you don't play it, it won't sound like the song. So if the piano's going chenk, chenk, and you have to have 2 hands to do brass, and it's not the song without the brass line, I would do the brass line. I wouldn't do just bubble. I would do bubble, piano, ooh, ah, ooh, ooh, and maybe have a second piano and do the little synth lines. We've had 2 keyboards before. We've had 1. We've had to use tracks before. There's no easy way. What answers to that question?
Yeah, you covered it.
All right, then moving on. Ivan, thanks so much for that question. Okay, I play for my church. Abina Marfo says, but I don't have any experience using Logic Pro or NAW. As a beginner, where and how can I start? And I
So
think this is a crucial thing for anybody. What is the simplest, cheapest, and not beginner, but something that would work long term as well?
and my quick answer, the easy answer is you can start with any keyboard that your church provides. It can be something as fancy as a Nord Stage 2 or Yamaha Motif, or something as simple as a Casio or a Radio Shack keyboard, because those Casios and Radio Shack keyboards,
What did you start off on, Justin? What was your first keyboard?
the Radio Shack keyboard, and I started that in 2005. And here's the thing: just find what's there. Like, we showcase these sounds just because this is what we have today, but we didn't start with this. I started on a small, simple keyboard that I know every worship band in Kenya is using. I know that situation, and it's all about finding your pad. I'm sorry, finding your piano, and find a pad sound. So I'm kind of moving in the next class, but as long as you got a pad, piano and pad that you have separate or you have layered, there's your patch for any worship song. But if you want something reggae, just find the piano and go chank, 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 chank. And for the bubble, just go through your organ options. And I know there's not much good organ options, but just start somewhere and just practice, 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 and practice live and practice recording. And it'll take time, but that day and time will come where you're able to get a motif, a Nord, or a MIDI controller. And the biggest thing I tell people is, as long as you get a computer, everything is quick, because you just need any keyboard or MIDI controller with the adapters. So that's kind of the quick version.
That is crucial. People are asking what workstation to get. Should they buy a Yamaha workstation or something expensive? I would not encourage anybody to buy any sort of hardware.
Yeah.
Aside from a laptop, ideally, and aside from a piano does MIDI. You can even just do a MIDI controller. Justin, many tours where you have a piano that if it's not plugged into something, it makes no sound. It has no sounds in it. It's just a controller, correct?
Yeah.
And you are self-taught. You taught yourself how to do all this, and you didn't go to school. You learned so they can learn too, right?
Yeah. So trust me, guys. Like, I didn't go to school for any of this. Like, for learning how to build my session or learning how to play reggae. I was just born around reggae music, and I figured everything out all on my own and did it all by ear. So that's why I'm so glad to have Times with me, because he's a smart one in this team, and I really encourage any beginning players and even seasoned players is, don't think that you know it all. Be prepared to surround yourself with people that's more smarter and more talented than you, and don't try to compete with them. Learn from them and work together, because that's what I do at times every album. And like this last album, he played a lot more songs on it, and for me, I'm like, that's perfect, because I love his style. And with getting making any purchases, I would say save your money and get a computer and a MIDI controller, because every unless the worship department's paying for it, every church wants a Nord, but you as a your own in-home musician, just get the Mac computer and get the MIDI controller, and it's all right here. And yeah,
I urge people to focus on software. You can buy it in small increments. You can
exactly.
get extra patches, extra plugs, extra this, extra that for 99 bucks. Wait for holidays, especially American holidays like 4th of July, and get these plugins for a tenth of the price. And as long as you have some sort of controller. Another thing, Justin, you got started in the church. You didn't have a keyboard. The church bought it for you, and you ended up touring with us with it. Eventually you had enough to where you could get more, but that's something that's crucial. Ty, a melodica there.
Dude,
Grab a melodica.
I forgot.
As for you guys, I would encourage you. You don't have the melodica there?
I forget on last hotel in Guarulhos.
Because the melodica is here.
Yeah.
You have Justin, you have the melodica. We have two. I was wondering where that extra one came from. Grab the melodica, Justin. There should be one somewhere right around there. So yeah, I would encourage you guys with that. You don't have to start out big. You don't have to break your bank. Focus on software, not on hardware. Hardware will become out of date, stop working. Software is the way to go. If you want to go cheap, I know Digital Performer has a Digital Performer Lite. I know you can do GarageBand. You can go Digital Performer, Motu Digital Performer. You can also go Logic. There it is. now playing that is no different than playing any keyboard. The only difference is the breath. You blow hard for a hard note. You go. You can do a little vibrato. It's kind of fun. But I would encourage you, Justin, the first one to tell you that he is not a melodica player.
I just
In fact, no, I've blown while he's played before. That doesn't sound right. But okay, melodica is a crucial part of it. Times is usually the guy who plays it, or me, or my wife. Another question, Nacho Vasco. We're in 4 questions left, and when we're done, Nacho Vasco, is it important to play different octaves, guitar and piano, or is it a question of EQ between two? I think it's a question of EQ. I don't think you should be playing different octaves. What do you think, Times?
Yeah. Just care about
low
for make everything.
When the keyboard is playing a G, like whatever the in the center of the keyboard, you're not playing an octave of that G on rhythm guitar, are you?
No, I mean I always go.
You're playing about the same place, about the same placement, right?
Yeah.
Okay, great. All right. I'm not sure what this one is. Can you use suitcase or maybe accordion, or saxophone as bubble in reggae? You can use anything as bubble. We've had horns go, not bubble, but chang, 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 chang. Ska, we have a little section, do the chanks with us. So I think you can use anything. I wouldn't try. I don't think there's any quick fix for any of these. I don't think you should have one sound for every song. You need to approach it and ask yourself, what does the record sound like? What is this? Is it dark? Is it happy? Is it upbeat? Is it down tempo? Is it major? Is it minor? And then you need to paint using those colors with your sounds, which is why you typically go with electric stuff and not live stuff, acoustic. It's a good iOS app to create drum patterns for church worship. This isn't a drum class, but these guys they use loops on Splice. You're going to be teaching your class. Tell us your beat building class times. What's the class where you're going to be building this? And tell us about your other classes, please.
All right. My next class will be reggae bass with Nikita and Avian Blackman. I will tell you guys about how I do my bass line, stuff like that. Next, I have two class guys. I have, let's see. Oh my gosh, I'm learning about my class. Oh, yeah. So, reggae bass, reggae guitar, rhythm guitar, how I do my guitars, lead guitar, solos, and lead stuff, pedals, and effects. I will do one class really nice about chord progression. How you
That
can make
one you have to watch. How to come up with original chord progressions, patterns to make your song up, to make it not sound like everybody else.
yeah, you can make people cry, you can make people smile, you can make
Yeah, then.
hair, you can whatever. Just choose the right chords for it. And build a song. I will build a song. I usually go with loops. I love to use loops, and I sign site called Splice. But sometimes I use some packs, like I buy some Met Professor packs or Horseman packs, stuff like that, and I use a lot of loops for this. I will talking about this on my class.
And you'll be building a song from a voice note that I give you. Give you a voice note, and then everybody will be like hearing raw, off time, off key. You have no reference whatsoever except for hearing it and then putting that into a complete song. You guys are musical geniuses. Justin, you're going to be teaching a similar class. You're going to be reggaeifying which worship song?
Okay. I will be reggaifying Carrie Job's The Blessing. And so I will be doing that in a few weeks, I think. And other classes I'm doing is reggae ukulele, where I will be showing you how to play Waymaker on the ukulele. And I will also do a live keys class. So what happened earlier today, I will go deep into that with like how to set up quickly and efficiently, or how to deal with troubleshooting. So and the other class I'm doing is worship keys. In that class, you guys will have a treat and have an amazing co-host with me, David Fohe. He's a worship pastor and singer with Emisi, and we'll just be talking everything worship keys, and I will go into depth with the resources that I have, and I will be giving you some sales and promo codes, and yeah.
Awesome, awesome. Okay, so what live interface do you use? I'm going to be talking about live keys. Just give them a hint of what you're going to be teaching from.
Um, I will go through my entire live rig, and the interface I use is a Steinberg, I think. I will look and have all the information for that class. So if you need, or if you want any more information regarding the gear that I use, go sign up for the live keys class, and you'll get all the information you need there.
There you have it. We are so grateful for each of you guys for taking time, for showing all of your secrets, for literally opening up your brains and giving us. That sounds bad, but it just. I hope that you guys have gleaned some serious insight. Guys have a greater understanding, a more holistic understanding of our approach with gospel reggae. But it's not gospel reggae without putting the gospel first. And that's why we travel around. These guys, as I'm looking at them right now, they're some of my favorite people in the whole wide world. They're creatives behind all of our songs, all these albums that we put out. And you know how much they get paid for this? They do it for free. They do it as musicianaries. That's right, musical missionaries. This class for you is free. It's free. It's our blessing to you. We encourage you to pay it forward, teach others, to pour into others. And if you want to help us go out into the nations, if you want to help us continue to pour into others, well, I would encourage you. I'm going to make a strong appeal for you. If you've been blessed by them, to bless them. Will you pray about doing that? And to do that, all you have to do is go to Christafari.com/. Somebody put that in the chat room right there. Christafari.com/donate. And then you click on the top donate button that you can see, and you log in. You log in through Facebook or whatever. And then under fund, you can select Justin or Times. You can donate to each of them. We strongly encourage you to donate monthly as we continue to minister monthly. This is our hardest month of working. These last few months working harder than we ever do when we tour, as we've been ministering and mentoring and encouraging thousands of other people around the world to be equipped to grow and go, but we can't do this without yours. So please prayerfully consider supporting Justin, prayerfulully consider supporting Renato Times in Brazil. Times needs to survive and cover the cost of his wife. Justin is going to cover his monthly costs, plus cover a few $1,000s worth of medical bills that were in when he was on tour in Trinidad and he got really sick. So we're helping, praying that he gets out, and I believe God can use you guys to bless him. Thanks so much. We hope that you follow us and join all the other classes. There are so many. We still have 36 more classes, right, guys?
Yeah. Hey, let me jump in before you close.
Yeah.
So, as Mark was closing, I was reminded something that's really crucial that I needed to share, and I apologize for the technical difficulties at the beginning. But the thing that I wanted to start off with before the teaching, before the music, was just wanted to give you guys Philippians 4:13. I can do all things through his strength. And honestly, that's something that I was going to talk about even before the tech issues, and just encourage all the new, young, and up and coming players that you can do this, you got this. And through the Lord's strength, just keep on pushing forward, even though you may not have all the tools, like all the fancy equipment we use. Just start with what you have. And the second thing that I wanna leave you guys with is this is a gift that God has given each of you. If you're a singer or a musician, remember that God gave you that gift. Even if you learned it, God gave it to you. And I wanna leave you with this question: what are you gonna do with that gift? And for me, there is a million options, a million answers, but for me, I am choosing to use that gift in a full-time gospel reggae band and be a full-time missionary. And as Mark said, we don't get paid 1 cent. And for me, it was never about the money. It's all about the ministry. And I just want each of you to search your hearts right now and ask yourself and ask the Lord, what is my purpose with this gift of music that you gave me? Is it to stay in the church? Or is it to go out to mentor people? Is it to go out to be a missionary? Is it to go out to make disciples? Or this is not the popular answer, but is it to go into the secular field? And this is a very thin line, you guys. But if you feel God is calling you to be in the secular field, I need to encourage you to stay surrounded by mentors and pastors that's more seasoned and that has a lot more years ahead of you. Because it's easy for any of us to say, oh, I'm going to go reach my drug friends, or oh, I'm going to go reach my friends at the bars. But then the script gets flipped, and those drug friends and those bar friends are going to come and get you. And no one ever plans to say, oh, I'm going to backslide. But a lot of times it happens. And I just need to encourage you, if you're working in the secular field with music or entertainment, just always remember the God that we serve and never compromise. And that's something that I really needed to share. And I believe that's why all those issues had happened in the beginning, because that's the main message I wanted to tell you guys is we got all these cool sounds and cool techniques, but what are you going to use it for? So um, that's what I mean.
Ooh, that's some meat right there. What are you going to use it for? Who are you going to use it for? And I just want to share this verse right here. Be steadfast and immovable, always steadfast, meaning stay strong in your faith, man. Always abounding in the work of the Lord. This for the Lord, guys, knowing that your toil is vain in the Lord. So do it for the Lord. Use your giftings for the Lord. Ascend, grow, and go into the world and proclaim the good news. Thanks so much. We'll see you in the next class of Ascend Masters tomorrow, 3 p.m. and 5 p.m. Monday through Friday, every week, the remainder of this month. God bless you guys. Thanks so much.